I just got a countdown. I'm not sure what that meant.
You're on the air.
I'm on the air? Okay. Independence Day. And I'm not really sure what the men that got together, and it was men, and created the nation that we call the United States of America. My understanding at the time was a lot of them had their lives on the line because they could have been put in court for treason and executed. And they all knew that, and they all signed and said, here's what we want to do. Anybody agree it's a pretty heavy step? And I look at today's world, what does it take for us to be individually independent? We are told the kingdom of heaven is within. Where in the Sermon on the Mount, which is Matthew 5, 6, and 7, basically, we are told, don't worry, it's all taken care of. And in today's world, would you agree, we've all been trained to worry and be in fear most of the day. So how come? What is that issue? And if we are capable of being independent, how do we do it? And I've been thinking, and this is really extemporaneous. This is just coming off the top of my head, because I realize that we must take a stand. In other words, they saw that we were headed this way. And they didn't like what was happening, and they took a stand and said, we're going to change our path. We're going to do things differently. We're going to do things this way. And they took a chance in doing that, and then they did what they said they were going to do. They didn't talk about it, they did it. And when they put their signatures on, that created lots of turmoil and lots of, let's call it separation from the original British kingdom. And here we are today because a group of men took a stand. And I look at that in our spiritual way. If the Bible tells me that we can be independent, we can be free, it says that the birds of the air, look at them, they don't worry. The grasses of the field, look at them. And Jesus makes reference to those kinds of things all the time. And he said, what are you worried about? He said, if these small creatures are taken care of, doesn't the Father want to take care of you? So there seems to be a dissonance there between the actuality that we see around us and what we're living. And so there has to be a thing that occurs, and there has to be a state of independence. So I would like to address that this morning. And what does that mean? Now, I've been working, we meet, Course of Love meets on Wednesday morning. We've got 6, 7 folks that are meeting with us now. Okay? So you'll come, we're starting over again if you'd like to do that. But in here, it gives a few ideas. And if anybody have any questions about Course of Love, it is another, let's say, a channeled thing from Jesus to Christ. It's a continuation, it says, of A Course in Miracles. And it says, every living being has a heart. Now, anybody agree with that? I mean, you want to talk about facts. That's a fact. So every living being has a heart. Let us define heart as the center of being, that place from which all feeling arises. Now, anybody, you stop and think about it. A lot of times when we're talking and somebody says, well, I don't know what to do, the simple question, what does your heart tell you to do, satisfies that. It's all of a sudden, the idea is the heart knows. Matter of fact, everybody take a minute and put your hand over your heart. You can put 2 hands over it if you want to. Heart Math Institute, which is now doing scientific studies on the heart, and we got a lot of that at the convention, says that the heart knows. There's actually brain cells, if you will, in the heart region, and the heart is the center of your being. Now, if you stop and think about it, if in the spiritual world there is no up and down, can you relate to that? In other words, the heart is at the center of our body. And the center of everything in our body is the heart. I'm going to talk about chakras later, that's why I've got that banner up there. But if you notice, the green middle, that's the center. And the heart is the middle of the chakra system. And it's green. And when we place our heart here and the hand here, and what I want you to do is just feel your heart. Feel the energy from your heart. Okay? Your heart knows. Just take a deep breath. Relax. Okay? And just visualize your heart. Okay? you feel it? There's actually a shift in the room. Do you feel it? Because that's where knowledge is. Now, we've been trained that our brain is the center of the universe. Not true. The heart is the center of the universe. And the new world's coming through. You can let that go now, unless you want to stay there. But it says all true feeling is love. So we know, or we're told, that the energy of God is love. And love is not something that we learn. Love is something that we allow to be. In other words, how do I create love? I don't create love. I open to love and I allow it through. People will say they're loved. They're not. No, nobody loves me. Okay, the universe loves you. And are you allowing the love to come through you? So, love is the center of everything. All love is recognition of the glory of God and all God created. Love is the only pure response of the created for the Creator. So when I express love, when you express love, we're acknowledging our Creator. Okay? Now, the great energy of the Creator, the great unknown, if you will, it's another fancy word is ineffable. There's no way to describe it. There's no way to explain it. It's not a old man with a white beard sitting in a cloud somewhere. It's an energy. And it's the energy of the universe, and the energy itself is love. So it goes on and says, love is the only pure response for the Creator. The only response of the Creator to the Creator. Your recognition of what love is will return you to God and yourself. So maybe the answer in this whole thing is, how come I don't live in abundance and joy and happiness and peace? Is I'm stopping love. So love is an energy that goes out and comes back, goes out and comes back. Now, each one of us is a child of God. And I know some people have a hard time with that term, child of God. So we can call it divinity, you're created in the image, whatever the Bible has said that you want to take in. Which means that you are God expressing itself. And I keep saying, you've heard me say this, I must say it every Sunday in some form or another. Okay? Love is essential to your being as the heart is the body. You would not exist without love. Is anybody familiar with the orphans that were behind the Iron Curtain a number of years ago? That they were so many of them, and they actually put them in bassinets and in cribs, and they were not touched, they were not loved, they were not appreciated, they were not taken care of. However, they were fed, and they were given the material needs, but no touching and no appreciation. Okay, I saw a couple of you doing this with your heads. They came out warped. They really had no mental stability. They weren't grounded. There were real problems with those orphans. Anybody agree when you're not touched and when you're not appreciated, you start feeling neglected? Many of them died, yeah. They did. And they couldn't figure it out. They didn't know what was going on because they kept feeding them and changing them and taking care of them, but they weren't being loved. Now, maybe there's an idea here that love is the grease that makes the universe work. And when we start worrying or doubting about our own little individual lives, that's what stops it. Course in Miracles says it's either love or fear. There isn't anything else other than love or fear. This book reemphasizes that in a slightly different way. But the idea behind it is, I decide to live in fear or I decide to live in love. Now, we have been so conditioned in fear. I keep looking at it. It's amazing to me. I was watching some of the political stuff. Everybody agree all they do is either side create fear. And my God, if he does that, this is going to happen. And that's the exact opposite of what it takes to live in harmony, to live in community. So there's a part of me that says, what are we going to do about that? But the truth is, I don't have to do anything about it other than love it. See, it's so simple that we have a tendency to discount it. Okay? There he goes again, talking about love. Let me go over here. You think if your worries Let's see. Remember that your worries affect nothing.
That's right.
Can I say that again?
That's right.
Okay, you ready? Remember that your worries affect nothing.
Except to make me negative.
Yeah. Okay, but it too does not, let's see. If you think your worries affect time, this is an effect, but time is an illusion. See, time is part of the illusion. And then you go on and say, remind yourself, this is a part of letting go of the old world to make way for the new world. Now, we've been talking about letting go of the past and stepping into the new world. And if I believe I'm living in a world of struggle, if I believe I'm living in a world of lack, if I believe I'm living in a world of upset and conflict at the national level, international level, then what am I creating? See, I become part of the energy. And so if I can reach the point in spirit where I know all is good and God is good and there isn't any of this, it's an illusion, maybe I can affect it. Now in your programs, there's a blurb from Esther Hicks, Abraham. So please find it. Okay? It looks like this. Okay? Anybody ready? Would anybody like to read it for us? Okay, I'll do it. Because others cannot vibrate in your experience, they cannot affect the outcome of your experience. Simple, simple. The world we live in is a world of vibration. And our vibration determines the outcomes in our life. So the first sentence says, because others cannot vibrate in your experience, they cannot affect the outcome of your experience. Everybody got it? So I have to stop blaming Madeline for the problems in my life. I have to stop blaming my mother and father and Mr. Trump and Mrs. Clinton. I have to stop blaming my next door neighbor. I have to stop everything except what I think. Everybody there? Mm-hmm. Next, they can hold their opinions. Anybody familiar with opinions? Mm-hmm. You can count them. There's thousands out there, okay? But unless their opinion affects your opinion, their opinion matters not at all. So it really doesn't matter what that person that you argue with thinks. It doesn't. It's up to you to think love. Up to me, by the way. Okay? 1 million people could be pushing against you, and it would not negatively affect you unless you push back. See, this is that psychological issue that we bring up. Madeline uses it all the time. That when you push, you're acknowledging that it's there, and by pushing it, you're fighting it and making it worse. Everybody there? It's a basic spiritual principle that what I think about and what I fight, I create more of. Right? Then it goes on. So that 1 million people pushing against you are affecting their millions of vibrations. So it's their being, not yours. They are affecting what happens in their experience. They're affecting their point of attraction, but it does not affect you unless you push against them. Comments? I'll bet you covered something like this in Quest this morning.
We actually had someone who shared this very thought about a relationship they had with someone, and that they realized that for years they had been doing this.
Decades.
Yeah, decades they had been doing this, and when they stopped in this release, there was no more friction.
Yes. Now, it's counterintuitive to say when I, see if I go out and march against something, I'm creating more of that. It's like Mother Teresa was asked to march against war. She said, no. I will march for peace, but not against war. So it's a real issue, and I've got some more here, but I understand the language of God as well. Everybody there? And I have to find out what love feels like and what it looks like in my world. Okay? There's one more sentence here. So you might as well let it go now. Everybody there? You might as well let it go. See, if I'm going to create a new world, then I got to leave that stuff behind me. So it's like carrying a big, heavy piece of luggage back and forth because you might need something. Okay? Now I've been guilty of that. Did you ever take a trip and know you took too much?
Yes.
And you got all, you get overseas and you got all this stuff. My God, why did I bring this? Okay? And that's what we're doing. We're carrying all this baggage around with us So this is saying you might as well let it go now. Okay? Unless you want to drag it around some more. It's too much. Okay? You are complete only within God, where you endlessly abide. Striving to be that which you can never be is the hell you have created. Quote. So hell is a state of emotional being. Yes? And it's really interesting. And so it means that love is the universal language. So when I see something that I don't like, if I learn to love it as a first reaction, then maybe my life starts changing. Now, this does not happen overnight. I know people that have had it happen overnight. However, it takes time because the mind has been so trained by the world around us. So it's a retraining of the mind. And actually, I'm learning now it's the heart. And it's allowing the heart to run who I am. Heart math knows, they tell us that the heart gets information a split second before the mind does, and then makes a decision. So the heart is actually influencing the mind. Now, for some reason this week I've had all kinds of chakra questions. It came up on colors, it came up, I got a call yesterday, a guy online wanted to know what chakra was. Now you take a call and it says, his first words were, what's a chakra? Seriously, it was like, oh, who is this? I had to get his name. And then I said, what's making you ask? He said, I just want to find out more. So why would, I asked him, why did you pick this number? He said, because I knew you'd talk. So, who knows? Okay? So it's funny, and we've had a lot of conversations about colors coming up, all kinds of stuff. So I drive in my office. I have this banner. This was given to me by my daughter 20 years ago, long number of years ago. Okay, and it is a representation from the yoga, let's say Hindu background, ancient teachers on what they see in each of the energy centers in the body. The idea is, and here's the idea. In other words, if I'm in spirit and if I'm expressing love, these are energy centers that are activated within my body, okay? And they go from the root chakra to the crown chakra, and each one has its own particular energy. Now, there are some people in our community, New Thought communities that say, well, let's work on that one, and we're going to, it needs to be balanced completely. In Kriya Yoga, we're taught to take the white light from the base up to the crown chakra, keep it there, and there's a rather routine that you learn through Hindu prayer. In centering prayer, there's no conversations about chakras other than the energies of the body, and as you purify the energies of the body, you get closer and closer to the Christ self. Everybody there? But basically, the root chakra, which is red, okay, and that's the grounding of the universe, if you will, the safety issues, the connection with Earth. Madeline, when Madeline's doing work with somebody, she talks about grounding, and she'll say red down, purple up in your imagination, connected at the heart level. So red is that root chakra. Orange is the next chakra, which is considered the sacral chakra. That is the sexuality chakra. It's also the creativity chakra, a lot of energy in creativity. Those of you who ever studied some of the tantric issues, and that's where that comes from, okay? Then next to the yellow, which is the, the gut, solar plexus, okay? And the solar plexus is imagination. It's an energy that is there as part of the, it's part of the creativeness of the sacral chakra, okay? And if you notice, the colors change, and the orange, the yellow is one of the base, those of you studying the color charts, the color chart is blue, red, and yellow. So yellow and yellow, and then that's at the, here, the gut. Now there is an awareness, there is a figuring, there is a protection type thing here in the solar plexus. Anybody familiar with the idea of gut feeling? Mm-hmm. See, we know. As a matter of fact, when you go into fear sometimes, I feel this here. Okay, it's like sinking in my stomach. Yes? No?
Yeah, no, it's true. For
It's
me,
true. It really, there's a physical thing that occurs.
At one point for me, it was like a steel ball.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even in recovery yet, and I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
I was like walking down the street one day, and I realized, man, no, you've got a steel ball in your body.
See, and that's part of the moral inventory, letting go of that
Yeah,
junk.
I had no concept of that. Then it was
Right.
like, what is this?
But, and then, look, if you notice, heart. Now, there is dissonance between the 12 Powers of Man done by Charles Fillmore and this. Okay, everybody there? Because according to Fillmore, love is pink. Here it's green. Okay?
We're not gonna fight over colors.
Yeah, we are. Everybody wants to. I even had orange roofs this morning. Okay? We're talking about the roof on the new building. Okay? And I have a green roof on there, and other people want to do other things. Okay? And green is the chakra color for the heart. Now, it's also compassion, love, community, etc. Okay? So it's that bonding type of thing. And if you, everybody look out the window now. What color do you see predominantly?
Green.
Boom. Okay? So green is the predominant color in our nature. It really is. Okay? And then the throat chakra is blue. And the blue is, that's communication, power, because this is the power chakra, power center. Okay? And it is the communication chakra, communication energies, power, because communication skills occur through the voice. And then into the third eye, okay, which is actually, we know physically, the pineal gland, which sits right in the front of the brain. And that's the center of intuition, ESP, those type of things. And then the crown chakra is, you see it, it's actually white. Now, in that pictorial, it is all the colors, but in the middle, it's white. And if you know, and if you understand light is a combination of all the colors. And it's the purity of the Christ consciousness at the top of the brain. Now, we, in our culture, have a tendency to think top and bottom. But if you really stop and think about it, you are like, and it's what I was trying to get you to feel when we did the meditation, that you're a speck kind of floating around in the universe. And we've accepted a body, a physical body, that's affected by gravity, but all this is illusion anyway. So in the spiritual self, we are neutral, if you will. In other words, there's no top and bottom. So what is our middle at all times? The heart. So it really fascinates me. So we are learning now, and most of the new thought ideas now are being heart-centered. The Quest is talking about heart. Unity's major metaphysical manual is now called heart-based metaphysics. Okay, Course of Love is totally heart-based. Heart math, we spent, I don't know how many things we had on heart math at the convention. So the conversation now is the heart, the heart, the heart. Now, the brain, if you will, resides between, and it's actually in all the chakras, but in communication skills and in the gut feeling is where a lot of brain cells are. And that's analyzing, figuring out, which is the domain of the ego, folks. And anybody familiar with the ego will keep us running, trying to figure things out. Even there's an organization that Madeline and I belong to called the ARE, but their major work is the search for God. You don't need to search for God. It's already there, okay? So we try to figure it out, how can I find God? You don't have to find God. You just have to give up what we're doing now and step into the awareness of God. And that's the new idea. Everybody there? Now, it's a new idea that's thousands of years old. It's thousands of years old. Okay? So, I wanted to do that because we're talking about colors on the roof. By the way, do you have the renderings that I handed you? There they are. Okay? No, I just wanted to point them out. Nina and Tom are hanging on to renderings of the new church building. It's not complete, it's just ideas. If you would like to take a look at it, I'd like you to. The board and the other folks got copies of it. I sent an email. If you want me to email them to you, I'd be happy to do that, okay? So anyway, we're getting closer and closer and closer. And everybody has ideas. Lee has an idea. And Judy has some ideas. And Pat has some ideas. And it's very interesting. And we're going to get this together. However, we have to look at it hard-paced. Everybody okay? Not what my personal, no gee whizzes, no, let's stick out. It's a heart-based function. And we are here to provide calm and peace and create a center of prayer down the street. I'm excited about it, can you tell? Mm-hmm. It's there. I absolutely can see it. Okay. I was going to go into 12 powers, but we're not going to do that. I would like to read. I want you to get this idea that the ideas are, see, the world teaches us to criticize, condemn, and complain. See, if I don't like something, I have to criticize it. If I don't like something, I have to condemn it. If I don't like somebody, I have to criticize. And that's actually, we've been trained to do that. And unless we do it, we're not part of the culture. I can still remember when I was running plants, I had a sales manager come tearing in all upset about something. And we had already been working on correcting it. And I said, forget his name, but anyway, Tom, it's corrected. And he got all upset because I wasn't upset. Everybody there? Because if we're upset, we want people around us to be upset. And see, that's not the way it works.
Shows you care.
Yeah, thank you. Say it again.
It shows you care.
It shows you care. Okay? And if I get upset, all I'm doing is adding to the junk. So one of the things this week, if we can, is let it go. I had a chance again last week to look at the Alcoholics Anonymous. And doing a moral inventory is really very serious to let go of the addiction. And in that moral inventory, you go through and look at all the negatives. How often do I criticize? What do I condemn? What am I angry about? What do I resent? Who is it that did this to me? And go through all that and let it go. Turn it over to God. See, what that does is it clears out all the space and allows the love to show up. This is what I believe. Right? And it's still working today. 70 years later, 80 years later. And I want to read this. This is Psalm 100. Everybody ready? And I got him. Okay? Make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all ye lands. Serve the Lord with gladness. Come before his presence with singing. Okay, one of the reasons that I appreciate Bruce, this tells us as a congregation to make a joyful noise and to sing. Not sit and watch somebody else do it. Everybody there? See, in community, we are the ones that are to be making a noise, and we are the ones to be singing. So thank you for struggling through. And we don't have any major soloists up other when Larry comes and they do duets. But the idea is we're better off struggling through singing because that's our nature. That's what we need to do. And then it goes on and says, know ye that the Lord, he is God. It is he who hath made us and not we ourselves. So in our spiritual self, we are pure, complete, and whole. Okay, now, the material stuff, we made that, and we did things like skin cancers and bad hips, and anybody familiar with those issues? Okay. And that's the material stuff of us. But it's saying I don't have to go back and correct that. What it's telling me is let go of it and express love. Then it goes on and says, we are his people and the sheep of his. Enter into the gates with thanksgiving. Now, am I thankful for everything in my life? Okay? Really? Sometimes that next door neighbor that becomes offensive might be trying to tell me something in myself. So if I learn to be thankful and express love, then I might get the answer. Then it goes on and says, enter his gates with thanksgiving and with praise. Be thankful unto him and bless his name. For the Lord is good. Period. Everybody there? For the Lord is good. For the law is good. For the law of attraction always works. Evenly, completely, and no matter what. All I have to do is look at it and love it, appreciate it, And as a spiritual community, love each other. And folks, I appreciate when I walk in here Sunday mornings, it's kind of like, oh, okay. And then you start coming in, and the space gets filled up with love. It does. And I appreciate that very much. So, make a joyful noise.
We'll make a joyful noise.
Good. Thank you.
Unto the Lord.